My name is Lebohang Pheko. I greet you on behalf of WEAll, and I am also stepping in. I've just stepped in into this role as new co-chair with Stuart, with clarity, with commitment, and a deep sense of responsibility. Because this work is not only symbolic, it's not polite, and it is not neutral. We're living with the consequence of an economic system built through colonial extraction, enforced through racialized and gendered violence, maintained by the myth that endless growth on a finite planet is both possible and inevitable. And yet the system was designed, and what was designed can also be dismantled and pulled back apart. So today we gather to begin something incredibly important. This event marks the opening of the first ever Reclaim the Economy Week, a moment that's not of theory, but of recognition and of mobilization. Because across the world right now, people are already reclaiming the economy through organizing, through policy fights, through land defense, through care, through art, through refusal, and through repair. This week is a celebration of work that confronts the violence of the current system and insists practically and politically that another way of organizing life is necessary and is inevitable. Let's be clear about this vision that brings us together. A well-being economy is not the softer version of the same failed model, and it is not greenwashed extraction. It's not inclusion without redistribution. A well-being economy is a rupture. It's a vision of a future where economic systems are designed to deliver the well-being, the prosperity, the productivity of people, not as an afterthought, but as the purpose. It rejects economies that are rooted in colonial plunder, fossil capitalism, and inequality by design. It centers care over accumulation and life over profit, and democratic decision-making over corporate capture. And this is why WEAll exists. WEAll is a collaboration of changemakers working together to change the system itself, not to manage its many crises, but to transform its very foundations. We bring together movements, policymakers, economists, practitioners who understand how broken the status quo really is and is working exactly as intended. And that intention needs to be confronted. So Reclaim the Economy Week is one such moment of powerful, necessary confrontation. It's a moment to unite and demand that economies that put people first, not markets, not empires, and not profit margins. It's the refusal of the idea that there is no alternative. And the response to this call has been extraordinary. I, for one, am deeply energized on a Monday that the WEAll Network, alongside many others, has come together to plan over 90 events online and in person across the world. That is over 90 interventions. That's 90 sites of resistance and imagination. That is 90 reminders that system change is not a slogan, it is a practice. So throughout this week, let's show up for these spaces, which you'll hear more about shortly. Let's sharpen our alliances, strengthen our thinking. Let us raise our voices together loudly enough to disrupt this story that this economy is the only way forward. Today, we're going to be inspired. We are going to be connected. And today, we're going to recommit to the long work of reclaiming economies of people from those who profit from exploitation and returning it to its rightful purpose. So my call to action is this throughout this week, let us not be spectators. Let us be participants. Let us be disruptors. Let us be the organizers of whatever needs to come next. Join the events online, on the streets, in policy rooms, in community spaces, across your breakfast table, in gardens, in backyards, on balconies, in the train, on the tube, wherever you may be. Share what you learn, challenge what limits us, build relationships that are going to outlast this week. And with that shared urgency, it's my immense pleasure to hand over to a strong ally in the struggle. Please welcome Sandrine Dixson-Declève, Executive Co-Chair of Earth for All. Sandrine, the floor is all yours.
Thank you so much, Liepollo. And thank you for not only your words of action, but your words of wisdom and your words of deep emotion. I really appreciate this at a time when I'm just coming back from the World Economic Forum, where some of you may have seen the president that carries the same accent as mine, but I put my hand up. I am a Belgian European citizen and very proud to be at this time, but also grieving what we saw last week in some ways. And I want to bring this up because we have one organization pretending to be talking about new economics. The theme originally was, how do we address prosperity within the planetary boundaries? And then we have what we're doing this week. And I think we need to take a moment to realize, first of all, the incredible amount of people that we have on this call, but exactly as Liepollo said, the amount of groundswell that we have for reclaiming the economy. The way in which we are seeing that people are standing up and saying very clearly that they want something different. The fact that we have already 5 well-being economies, governments that are actually moving forward and trying to put in place the dignity, the necessity to address what we call the 3 pillars, working with WEAll and others around the environment, economics, and social shifts. And so I want to contrast the deep pain that many of us felt last week as we went through the corridors of the World Economic Forum, where I was myself giving an alternative Trump speech. And what I'm feeling right now from the words that you've just pronounced, Liepollo, and all the incredible hearts that I've just seen going across our screen, and the incredible commitment from all the different organizations that have decided that they want to call out the existing economic system and think through what it means to reclaiming the economy. People want political and economic reform. Our Earth for All global survey and the work that we've been doing with countries across the globe has demonstrated that actually, even already in 2024, and we've just redone the survey, G20 countries who were surveyed, 68% already agreed that the economy does not prioritize health, does not prioritize well-being, does not prioritize nature, and very much want to shift from a current economy which is captured by shareholder value and corporations into an economy that services people, planet, and prosperity at the same time. 68% in G20 countries. So the message to politicians could not be clearer. And the fact of the matter is that at a variety of different levels, we're starting to already see a very active, not only conversation, but structural reflection on how we go beyond GDP. How do we actually embrace new economic models that foster people, planet, and prosperity? At the international level, at the UN, where we now have a high-level panel that is discussing this very point, all the way to Europe and other countries, including South Africa, that have addressed this alongside Brazil in their G20 deliberations. So what we see through this week is that actually this reflects what the large majority of people actually want. Economies that are servicing people, economies that are taking into consideration the deep risks and the cost of inaction on climate and on the environment, economies that understand new governance models, new democratic participatory governance models to get away from populist and autocratic governments, an economy that gives us a chance to actually truly engage in shaping the economy that is going to service us. Reclaim the Economy Week is truly a chance to amplify this call for economic reform. And I'm so pleased to be working with WEAll, and I want to thank the WEAll team, Lisa and Lena in particular from our side, for having worked so hard together and collaboratively with other organizations to actually put this together. And at today's launch event, we will explore different examples of people around the world already taking actions towards their own reclaiming economy interpretation and integrating it into their own communities. So what I want to do is start and welcome John Spillane. John is one of the most accomplished songwriters in Ireland. He's rooted in people, place, and story. And what we're seeing also in the well-being economy governments is that those countries that have adopted a well-being economy, like Wales, also like Scotland, very much talk about the narrative, the culture, the essence of being part of that country, but also of servicing its people. So we want to bring in John, who very much is rooted in people, place, and story, and his music transports the listener, and his live performances captivate audiences around the world. John, we're looking forward to you giving a live performance of one of your songs. Thank you so much for being with us. It's
Thank you,
a real honor
Sandrine.
to have you on this show.
Thank you so much. Well, I'm in Cork, Ireland, and I have spent years working on this project called Fíorishke, the Legend of the Loch, where I'm working with local Irish mythology. I've re-Gaelicized a Victorian fairy tale and put it back in the Irish language. And I'm going to sing for you now a brand new world premiere, friends, of a song that I was about Loch Ness in the north of Ireland. It's the biggest lake in the British Islands, and if not in Europe. But it brings together a lot of various things about pollution, private property, the economy, agriculture, commonage, etc. So, brand new song. I was asked to write this by Peter Doran in Limerick last summer. So it's quite short. Here we go. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's called What of Loch Ness? What of Loch Ness? Through the reeds we hear her keening. Proud Loch Ness, magnificent in all her dreaming. What of Loch Ness? Queen of all the lakes of Ireland, the great Loch Ness, the greatest lake in all these islands. She is her own lake alone. You may not own her. This of Loch Ness, reed and wave, fire and thunder, proud Loch Ness, human pride and greed and plunder, this of Loch Ness. From the spring of Ochifin, dark Loch Ness, the loch sings of her poisoning. She is her own lake alone. You will not own her, this of Loch Ness.
Thank you so much, John. Really, what a beautiful piece. And again, ties the importance of song with culture and with place. And I want to bring in now and welcome Kevin, Kevin Sutton is a writer and a spoken word performance artist, workshop facilitator, communications professional, and community organizer. And Kevin is also a core team member and steward of the Wellbeing Economy Alliance of Canada. For us today, he's going to perform his poem, Putting It All Together. And like song, poetry is also something that anchors us in place, but also allows us to bring in the emotion and the compassion and the feeling that we all have at this such important time. And let's just to make a link, Canada for the moment, and obviously the Prime Minister of Canada is probably one of the strongest voices that we heard last week in Davos. So there is a great deal of beautiful symbolism here as we welcome Kevin to read his poem.
Thank you so much, Sandrine. And I'll give a little bit extra context to this, as we had a wonderful gathering in Toronto, where a whole bunch of different well-being economy groups got together. And this poem was written live during that event based on what we were experiencing together in that event. So that's just a little bit of context for this poem called Putting It All Together. What mellows in the mingle? Something simmers in the hum and bustle as the glass and flatware clinks. If you pay attention, it's written on the host's apron. The revolution starts in the kitchen. Because that's what we're cooking up together. A turnaround that grounds us full circle. Well, at least that's my 2 cents. But when my 2 cents meets your 2 cents meets your 2 cents, the movement is amplified tenfold. So no matter what have we got? 20 cents? But maybe that's all it maybe that's all it takes to make paradigms shift. How much relational wealth can we create if we each contribute our gifts? It becomes a potluck of magic, a buffet of conversations that moves from local to national to global, and I call that the social butterfly effect. It's what happens when citizens become pollinators. It seeds new ways of being together. And we don't know how deep the roots will grow, but we know the limits of the foundation. And we don't know how high the branches will reach, but we know there is a ceiling after which we will fall over. But what we do know is that we must grow in service to life and its cycles of inner and outer limits, of concentric purposefulness. And in the exchange of these two rings, we become wedded to our future. And what kind of life do we build from this marriage? Where my 2 cents meets your 2 cents becomes 20 whole cents of movement, of moral ambition, of co-production, of co-creation and coexistence. And it means that we need each other to grow. And I am really bad at math. Or maybe it just means that there is something ephemeral in our interchange that defies the limits of logic, that haunts us from the machine. Maybe it's just a quirk of the quantum, but maybe it's just a deeper truth, nested in vibrational fields of consciousness and intelligence and love. Maybe it's just what it means to belong, to be woven into a social fabric, an intimate quilting of purpose and care, simmering in the bustle and hum, and the clinking of flat and glassware, and the bubbling of connections of nested circles. And should our union with the future become harvest, should the tree we've planted, in whose shade we will never sit, bear bountiful generations in her branches, it will be because we mingled. Thanks so much, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful Reclaim Economy Week.
Oh, Kevin, thank you. How beautiful. So many words that stood out. The fact that we need each other to grow. We don't need productivity in particular to grow. This is something also that Kate Rayworth from Donut Economics has always said. Why is it that growth has become such a nasty word when actually the fact that we can grow together can be so beautiful? And your poetry has really struck such a beautiful tone around the quilting of purpose and care. Thank you, really. It touched me deeply. I want to allow then us now to move into an opening of others who are here, who are working in this space, who are offering different types of events this week. When registering to this event, you were able to, all of you, send in songs and music as well. So this is all about what holds us in terms of culture and how do we express ourselves in different ways. I brought in actually my daughter's song, Heaven is a Place on Earth, because I fundamentally believe that we need to continue to make sure that heaven is a place on earth. And what I want to do now is to shift a little bit into the area of food and ask Amandine Mauguin, who's a member of a food cooperative and community cafe in Lyon, France, the Melting Co-op. She has agreed to show us how their structure works to address crisis, and especially the crises of today. Amandine?
Yes, hi everyone. I will present to you the co-op, so I'm going to share with you a little video. It will not be as artistic as the two talented people we saw before, but yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
So we're a food cooperative and a community cafe, La Melting Co-op. It's the combination of the store and the cafe. I'll mostly focus on the store for now. So we're like a grocery store, but the members and employees own the shop, which means several things. First, to have access to the store and its products, you have to become a member by financially contributing. In other words, by buying at least one share, starting at 10 euros. Second, you have to work for the shop on average 3 hours per month. We call that a contribution, it's like a shift. So you can be the cashier or do the inventory, for example. You can choose to do a regular shift once per month, or we have a schedule available and members can place themselves whenever they want to do a shift. So you can totally do several shifts in a month and go on your vacation for 3 months in Hawaii or whatever country you want to go. Without being late on your shifts. With this system, we only have 3 employees for now. The shop runs mostly with their members, which reduces the cost of our products up to 30%. We are currently 544 active members that runs the shop. And finally, it means that all the decisions are taken by everyone during assemblies. One person equal one vote. Decisions are made about which product we want to sell. We have majority of organic food, and we have a yellow book in which you can ask for a specific product that you want to see in the store. Decisions about where to find it, to find all those products, mostly local produces, and you can have a decision. You can have a decision on how to run the co-op. You can join at any point one of the many groups we have, like communication, HR, or process. So it's up to you. We also have an anti-waste zone. We have a shelf dedicated to fruits and vegetables that are ripe and about to be overripe with several discounts. We have 10 up to 15 to 50% off, and we give for free the ones that are not sellable anymore. We have a lot of products available in the form of what we call vrac. Those products arrive without packaging, so you help yourself with a container. It can be a paper bag, but usually we use a jar that's reusable. We have pasta, cereals, oils, chocolate, nuts, biscuits. The main benefits are you get to choose your own quantity, so no waste, and it's more environmentally friendly since there's no packaging involved. It also is usually cheaper. So it's a little small in here, sorry about that. But we are lucky in Lyon, France, to have a local currency. So this money is only usable by members of the Lagonette, the name of the money, and you can put it in a bank. And the members can be residents, associations, communities, or professionals, provided that they are in Lyon area. It's obviously a great way to support local economy, but what's more interesting is that all the members gets one vote at the assemblies to decide how Lagonette should grow, which means as a member, as a resident, even you can choose the initiatives you want to support. Those initiatives are local, ethical, and or engaged in environmental transition. Finally, we have a cafe. When we first created La Coop, we were an association, Les Amis de Demain, the Friends of Tomorrow. We had to change at some point the legal status to be able to open the store, but we wanted to keep the association. So we opened a community and participative cafe on the same premise as the store. It is managed by members of the association, Les Amis de Demain, and it hosts different events like concerts, workshops of any kind, like writing workshops, or there was a workshop just like this month about Lagonet and how it works. Bigger events, such as the toy swaps we have each year for Christmas. We, of course, have events related to the cooperative, like social meets between members, just to connect and have a good time together. In short, the schedule is pretty full and diverse. So to conclude, the system allows us to choose what we want to eat, from where we have lower prices than the other organic food stores for the same products, and we can pay our local producers more fairly because we're trading directly with them, cutting out the middlemen. But more importantly, in my opinion, it allows us to cooperate, work together to meet new people that we wouldn't meet otherwise. We help one another, and each and everyone gets to decide in the same way. La Melting Co-op uses multiple approaches to promote at the same time diversity and equality, horizontal democracy, solidarity, a more local and fair economy while remaining environmentally friendly. So I think we're reclaiming the economy. Thank you for listening.
Merci, Amandine. Thank you so much, Amandine. Really appreciate your presentation. And obviously, it's exciting. A lot of people in the chat, you should go back and look at it because several people are indicating that they as well have a cooperative that they are part of or that they have in their community. The whole idea here, and by the way, ladies and gentlemen, we're 177 participants from across the globe, including I've just seen from Sonoma, California, which is lovely having grown up in California. And I just want to say one thing. I grew up with co-ops. I grew up with co-ops actually in the 70s, and I must say that many of those co-ops disappeared in the 80s and the 90s. We need to resurrect co-ops. And this is, I'm hoping, and with Lisa and the WEAll team and the Earth for All team and others, let's hope that we can create an even greater community of action of people who are actually working on the ground to reclaim the economy and then being able to exchange ideas and further resources so that we can even, all of us, be even more powerful in our daily work and in the actions that we're trying to put forward. So thank you so much, Amandine, and all of you who are getting very excited in the chat. Thank you for your inputs. I want to move now to Renata. Renata Minerbo will walk us through a space in South Africa that was designed with people and planet in mind. Renata is the head of community and partnerships at Be the Earth Foundation. She drives Be the Earth's continuous improvement through innovation and bold practices that move us towards new formats for distributing wealth, something that we're very keen to see through Earth for All. Most of the data that we see today shows that actually the redistribution of wealth is going backwards, not forwards, in most countries. But Renata designs programs and partnerships that align with Be the Earth's vision and ensure maximum impact. Welcome, Renata.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Calling from Stellenbosch, just outside Cape Town.
A beautiful place.
Yes, very beautiful. I'm originally from Brazil. But yeah, so just to give a little bit of context of what Be the Earth is, and then I'm going to share about one of our programs. So Be the Earth is a hybrid organization that does both philanthropy, investment, and experiment with everything in between in terms of different financial models to help us move towards a more ecocentric economy. So we try to break the pattern of having a portfolio that is usually 99% allocated in damaging industries that are just feeding the system that the 1% of the philanthropy tries to change. And one of the ways we do that is by decentralizing our philanthropic decision making. So half of our budget is not decided by us. And I'm going to share a little bit now about flow funding, which is one of the tools and one of our programs that we use to do this decentralized decision making, which we were very lucky to, right at the beginning of the organization, we met Marion Weber, who was the original person behind this concept. She's been doing that for over 20 years. So some people still find this innovative nowadays, so it blows my mind how she managed to think of that 20 plus years ago. So this is actually our website. You can have a look later if you want to have more information. Of course, with 5 minutes, I'm going to try to rush to explain how it works. But the concept is very simple. We basically invite activists to become the funders. And the way we do that is by creating a cohort. So currently we have 2 cohorts. One is composed by women that are activists. The other one we call the wisdom keepers, who are elders who actually really guide us on our own learning journey and maturing our vision and mission as an organization. And then we transfer an amount of money to their personal bank account to be able to detach from all the bureaucracy when you're doing an institutional donation. And I must say that's an interesting exercise to find ways to transfer money to certain individuals in certain countries. It's not the easiest, but we love a challenge, so we go for it. And part of the money we transfer for them, it's a stipend, so for their time, recognition of all the years of their work. It's a very trust-based, obviously, because we transfer that to their personal bank account, and they basically can do whatever they want with it. So a part of it they keep to themselves, and then the rest, 75%, they disburse to as many people or projects as they want. The amount they also decide, and we create a time frame. So basically the way we have been organizing now, it's our 6th year of the program, and we did a pilot, and then we got to a 3 years long time frame, which is a really interesting journey, given that in the beginning of the journey, especially activists that are so used to being so accountable to every cent they spend and having restricted grants that they can't really use to what actually needs to be used. And sometimes they see themselves replicating the lack of trust or the kind of pattern of wanting to ask for the receipts and all of that. So it's very interesting, this shift of roles within the sector. Then we obviously transfer them the funds, and then it's very simple. It's as simple as it sounds. The funds flow. So people choose, usually we like inviting people that are in touch and working on the ground in very grassroots communities. So obviously to flow the money to people and organizations that wouldn't have access to grant calls. Sometimes they're illiterate, sometimes they speak their own native language. So it's really stretching how far the money goes. And also people that have an expertise where they know micro grants can go a very far way. And our reporting is basically storytelling. We also meet every other month as a community of practice, so to exchange the learnings, the practice, to discuss different topics, like from, I don't know, the stories of what they chose to do, all the way to the power of microgrants or the struggles of patriarchy and so on. Depends a little bit on their interest. And so just to give so there are quite a few stories. We already organized a webinar as well as part of our storytelling and our reporting. And basically, just to give an idea of where the money can go. So there's one, it's actually quite a a while ago this story happened, but it still touches my heart, of this guy who was a forest defender, and they were supporting, he wanted to support his project and his community, and then the person who was flowing the funds found out he was about to become blind because he had cataract, and then she decided to fund his eye surgery, which would very unlikely be funded by any traditional philanthropy. Another interesting story that I like is a traditional community in the Amazon that fishes pirarucu. It's a very big fish. It weighs like 50 kilos or so. So every time these fishermen would go fishing, they would have to carry the fish back, and they could maybe carry 2 fish at the same time. And then she bought them a motorcycle, and with the motorcycle, they managed to drive 5 fish at the same time. So that more than doubled their income. And many other stories of like how just putting fuel on a boat managed to initiate a whole agroforestry project, or helping activists pay their debt so they wouldn't lose their houses. So it's a very inspiring model. From all the stories we get to hear, we're always surprised by what emerges. And also it's very little admin. So from the funder's perspective, it's very efficient, because we do close to 100 grants through being in relationship to like 10 or 12 people. So yeah, lots to share about it. I'm happy to be contacted later.
Thank you so much,
more.
Renata.
Thank you.
Another fantastic example of reclaiming the economy, and the way there's a real paradigm shift in what you're trying to do. And it doesn't take a lot. This comes back to the poem that we heard, right? My 2 cents plus your 2 cents, as Kevin said. It doesn't take a huge amount. It just takes understanding where there's a need and how we actually foster that need. So thank you for that paradigm shift.
And trust.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to move now from you, Renata, to Marina Gatas. Marina, you are a political scientist with a decade of experience working inside and alongside governments to promote systemic change. You're founder and co-director of Ultra Economia. You've worked in the Brazilian National Congress, and you serve on the board of EcoCiv Institute. You're a member of the Brazilian government's National Impact Economy Commission, which is lovely. I'm actually speaking to the Brazilian government this evening on the post-COP accelerator work and their roadmap. Brazil is, and Renata, you're also from Brazil, but Brazil is doing some extraordinary things to really shift out of the usual neoliberal capitalistic paradigm. There are issues too, but I think really it's quite amazing what you're all doing. You're also, as culture and public policy lead at WEAll, you're supporting the reimagining and redesign of economies through cultural activations and policy influencing, especially in Latin America. So you're going to show us a little bit about the community art from Arama in Latin America. And these pieces of art showcase the dreams of a better future of these communities around Brazil. And one thing that WEAll and Earth for All and many of us in the community of Wellbeing want to do is to demonstrate what alternative futures look like. So thank you for showing us your version from Arama.
Hi, everyone. Just setting up here. Can you all see my screen already?
Yes.
Wonderful. Pleasure to be with all of you today, celebrating the launch of this incredible collective effort, which is Reclaim the Economy Week. I have 5 minutes, and I'll take you onto a speed tour of the exhibition Arama, a particle of the future. This project is an experiment in powerful new ways of advancing alternative economic futures framed as collective dreams. We already know that we have all the science we need to make a transformation, but science informs while dreams inspire. What emerges when we dream together is compelling beyond the logic. Dreaming conjures new possibilities, but dreaming collectively strengthens our power to act together. Arama is an encounter between deep listening, ancestrality, and futurism. through collective imagination. We drew from ancestral futures methodologies to work with communities all around Brazil at the front line of struggles for justice and people most affected by injustices. And we asked them, what does a fair future look like? Their answers took shape in collages, in quotes, in texts, in videos, and in dream manifestos that carried both memory and possibility. Arama is a live multimedia tapestry of dreams that right now involve already over 600 voices all across Brazil, all 5 regions. The name Arama comes from Old Tupi, which is one of Brazil's 295 indigenous languages. Arama is actually a grammatical particle. It conveys the idea of future when added at the end of a word. And here, each collective dream, each panel, each ribbon, each conversation is a particle of the future. Each piece represents a spark towards a fair future, a future very much within reach because it's already dreamt and shared by many. Our promise as dream weavers to everyone involved was that we would keep these dreams alive. We would make them be seen and heard, and we would plant them as seeds for society-wide transformation. So we exhibited them and collected many more along the process at the People's COP, the People's Summit at COP30 in Belém, and also at Global Artivism in Salvador. And we also systematized these collective dreams into a booklet with policy recommendations that we handed to dozens of senators, federal deputies, senior advisors to the Minister of Culture and Minister of the Environment, still handing it out in Brasilia every once in a while. Our greatest message back and feedback has been, thank you for not sending us another report. And you can all see this material on our website in English and in Portuguese. Although the peoples and the communities and biomes that we journeyed through were drastically different, there is a surprising amount of harmony and cohesion between the images and metaphors that were used by different groups to describe their dreams for a fair future. Things like reclaiming peasant and Afro-Indigenous identities, the centrality of sovereignty that touches on property, territory, food, and politics, the need for greater simplicity, enoughness, care, and quality time, including reclaiming rest, the importance of spirituality and of strengthening intergenerational ties, unity, peace, end of all racism and gender violence, green futures, clean water, clean air, and thriving biodiversity. Living culture also showed up in every conversation. This quote is my all-time favorite. In a fair future, hunger for bread and beauty are satiated. And let us not forget freedom, the freedom to exist, to flourish in difference, and to extend these fundamental rights to all beings. We are choosing to continue to work with Arama with dreams as a social technology because dreams are the engine of all creation. Those who came before us dreamt the world the way it is today, and we can dream of a different one, but we need to dream collectively again. This is what our elders teach us. The individual dream will get us to the solitary top of the ladder, but the collective dream that's shared in circles to sense make and take action together is what allows us to build social cohesion and materialize worlds that take all of us into account. So if you're keen on exploring ways that we can weave more collective dreams together, learning more about the initiative, I left a QR code and the URL here to get in touch. We'll also be publishing soon step-by-step guide of implementing this methodology, so keep in touch. I would love to hear from all of you. And thank you so much for your presence. Happy Reclaiming the Economy Week to everyone. It was a pleasure to be here with you today.
Thank you so much, Marina. The need to dream is so important. And again, what we need to do is enhance people's capacity to dream at this time when so many people are being pushed into nightmare scenarios, especially in the United States and elsewhere. So I think this is part of what we're trying to do through the Reclaim the Economy Week. We had originally planned to have breakouts, but these stories of change and paradigm shifts and examples were so exciting and so important that we've gone over time. It doesn't mean that we don't want to hear from all of you. We're hopeful that actually through the participation in Reclaim the Economy Week, we will actually hear from you in a variety of different ways. But what we wanted to do now is slowly wrap up. Again, I urge you all to read all the incredible examples of what people are doing in the chat. We will keep the chat live, of course, and send out, I hope, and I'm kind of turning to the team, both Lena and Lisa and others in WEAll, that we can make sure that we connect all of you after this call and that we continue to distribute some of the incredible information that is in the chat and that will happen actually as we move through this week. Because I think it's fundamental, and that's what this is all about, right? Is creating a movement of movements and ensuring that we can all work with each other, enhance each other's work, speak about each other's work, but also support each other, because it's not always easy work. What I want to do now is to wrap up and give the floor to Hajar Tadzi. Hajar is a child of the earth, which is so beautiful. To know that Hajar is a child of the earth, and I'm hopeful that we are all children of the earth with you, Hajar. What you are, from what we've heard, is a heartivist, which is also a beautiful description, a storyteller, an ecosystem weaver rooted in Casablanca, Morocco. And Hajar, we want you to share with us what it means to reclaim our belonging, not just our economy.
Hi, everyone. It is a joy to be with all of you today. And it was also very inspiring listening to these stories of people around the world reclaiming the economy. So this last section really is about reclaiming our belonging. And what I'd like to invite us to do is to partake in a moment of shared breath and shared voice together. So in a moment, I'll ask you all to unmute yourselves, to perhaps invite some family members or colleagues if they're around you, especially children. Love to see children. And together we're going to sing a very simple song, a song of belonging, a song that you can carry with you and sing with your communities during this Reclaim the Economy Week and beyond. And it's a song that's really meant to remind us of what we belong to and of the relationships that make us who we are and that sustain us. You do not need to be a singer to join in. I think when I'll start singing, you'll realize I'm not a singer myself. And so the first sentence, I will be singing it, and then I'll invite you all to join me. So yeah, let us begin. We belong to each other. We belong to the land. Now together. We belong to each other. We belong to the land. And we forgot, but now we remember. All we hold in common. And now together. And we forgot, but now
we remember. All we hold in common.
From those before to those to come, we tend this life and trust for all. Join in. From those before
those to come,
we tend this life and trust for all. And when we rise together as one king, bound forever.
And when we rise together as one king, bound forever.
And now all together. We
We
belong
Belong
To each other,
we
we
belong to
belong
the
The
land.
to
land.
the
Thank you
land.
all so much for singing and remembering together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hijab. Really appreciate you leading us in this very important common song. It's not only the lyrics, but sometimes when we sing together, the power of singing together and the vibration is so important at this time. Once again, because there are so many negative vibrations out there and we need to counter them. So we really appreciate you finishing this evening with us. On behalf of the whole team behind Reclaim the Economy Week, I hope you're all feeling energized and ready to reclaim our economy and ready to reclaim our belonging and making sure that we stand with courage. We've got a slide up here. There are over 80 different events that are planned this week, all across the globe. Some are online, some are in person, and all will talk about our economy and about what is possible to achieve. So please get engaged. Please put it out on your social media feed so that we can have others get engaged at this time, also when people are really looking for something else than the usual economic models that we have before us. And I think whatever lens you choose to approach the topic, let's all spark conversations and let's all spark dialogue and even have difficult conversations, because it is important at this time to unpack some of the difficulties of what we're all feeling and how we actually really shift to a much more positive model. And everywhere we can demonstrate that there is a different type of future, and a different type of future that we can all belong in. One that we might see ourselves in, or that you might see yourselves in. And I hope that you will also join our own event, our Earth for All event on Wednesday, and also other events. As was indicated in the beginning, WEAll is hosting a variety of different events, and we are also collaborating in some of those events. So please go out, be strong, reclaim the economy, continue to think about organizing events. This might be 1 week. It doesn't mean that we stop here. This is the start. This is the launch. This is the spark of many more events, many more dialogues, many more discussions. And please also make sure that you create alliances, that you open up communities. But also, please also sign our petition. I don't know if we have yeah, there it is, to political leaders, that asks our leaders to go beyond GDP and commit to a global transformation that delivers rights, justice, and a fulfilling life on a safe planet. A huge thank you to all of you who joined us. We were at about 177. I think that was the top. Now we're back down to 150, but extraordinary that so many of you were able to join us from very different parts of the world. Thank you to all the speakers for their inspiring words, for the music, and also for the incredible poetry. Thank you to all of you who continue to push and shift the paradigm, because it's so important. And I know that there are times when we fluctuate between hope and despair. So hopefully this has given you more hope and more sense of belonging in a broader community. And I look forward to seeing you and to hearing about your experience at our dynamic Reclaim the Economy Week. Thank you again for joining us. I don't know if I've forgotten anything. Could someone from the WEAll team or from my team remind me if I have? But otherwise, I just want to wish you well at this time. Lots of courage, lots of love, and lots of dreaming. Thank you.
If we go to full screen, we can all hold hands.
Well, there you go.
So gallery view, hold your hand up like this. And then everyone can hold hands with the person next to them, and we're one big, beautiful circle.
What a beautiful idea.
You have to hold your hand halfway across the next door screen, so it's joining hands.
Here we go.
There you go.
Fantastic.
Love to everyone. Thanks.
The same. Thank you so much. Take care, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Reclaim the Economy Week.
Yes. Take good care.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.